Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's Weather for Weather Geeks time, the Mahoning and Chenango Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. We've got a lot to cover this evening. Not much wintry weather to talk about, in terms of snow anyway, until the end of the weekend. Until then, some fog to contend with, and we're going to be talking about mild temperatures as well. First of all, a quick trip through the record books on today's date, which of course is the 6th of February. It was back in 2010 that we were just wrapping up a snowstorm that brought anywhere from 6 to 12 inches worth of snow to our region, 8.4 officially at the airport on the 5th and 6th day of February 2010. And then a few days later, we got another 6 to 12 inch kind of a storm. February, a very, very snowy month in 2010. We had 3 feet, 36 inches worth of snow at the Youngstown Ward Airport in February of 2010. Nothing like that today. Of course, it was too mild. We managed to make our way into the lower 50s this afternoon, about 17 degrees. Warmer than average, 52 in Pittsburgh, and 55 was the high at Hopkins Airport in Cleveland. It was a free car wash across the region today, especially morning and the first part of the afternoon. The rain tapered to drizzle and fog later on in the afternoon. Here at our downtown studios, we have a rain gauge up on the roof, 0.43 here. At my place in Boardman, 0.48. Generally speaking, rough average here, about half an inch worth of rain earlier on today. That steady rain has pushed off to the east. We're in this kind of lull right now. The rain will return tomorrow. But while we're in this lull, there's still a lot of moisture trapped in the low levels of the atmosphere, so we're seeing that drizzle and some fog as well. We'll talk about the fog a little bit more in just a second. In the meantime, lots of flood watches out for the Ohio River Valley and flood warnings for several rivers across the region, including Eagle Creek in Trumbull County, what typically is a flood-prone area. When we have snowmelt and rain and perhaps some problems with some ice jams, around the Southington, Leavittsburg, Braceville area, we oftentimes see flood warnings issued for Eagle Creek. And the current level at 8.55 feet, probably dipping some overnight before starting to rise again later on Thursday into Thursday night, perhaps cresting close to 13 feet. And so more flood warnings are pretty likely there. For the Mahoning River at Leavittsburg, also in Trumbull County, we're below flood stage now, but by Thursday night into Friday, back into minor flood stage, probably cresting somewhere around 12 feet, right smack dab in the middle of minor flood stage for the Mahoning River at Leavittsburg. All right, when I did Weather Geeks at about 7:03 p.m., looked like pea soup on our camera in Boardman. Notice the temperature and the wind chill are identical. That means the air is saturated in the lower levels. And, the visibility is not like this everywhere, but you're going to run into some pretty thick fog in some spots throughout the course of the night tonight. At 7 p.m. at the Youngstown Ward Airport, visibility down to an eighth or of a mile or so. Eighth of a mile also in Akron. Up at Cleveland, where it's been foggy for several hours, they're just under a mile visibility at 7 p.m. So the Weather Service did hoist a dense fog advisory for northern Ohio, and then they added a few counties on at about 6:20 this evening. That includes Mahoning and Trumbull counties. But if you're watching this from Columbiana County or in western PA, I think you have a chance of seeing some fog in those locations as well. All right, so I just showed you how much rain we've had, how much additional rainfall. We've got some pretty good model agreement here. All our lines are clustered nicely, showing generally for our next round of rain, Thursday afternoon into Thursday night, around a half an inch or so worth of additional rainfall. This is going to be an anomalously moist air mass, a warm and moist air mass coming our way on Thursday. Definitely a little more like April rather than early February. It'll feel kind of humid outside. If you think it's kind of humidish this evening, tomorrow it'll be, even more like springtime with perhaps some records set when we talk about the amount of moisture in the atmosphere for this time of the year. At the Weather Service offices, they launch weather balloons twice a day and keep a running record of what kind of moisture those weather balloons measured. And it's possible that we set daily records at the Weather Service office in Wilmington and Pittsburgh as well. Those are the two local Weather Service offices that launch daily weather balloons twice a day. So it'll be interesting to see what those balloons measure tomorrow, whether or not it will be a record moist air mass for the 7th day of February. But whoosh, cold front rolls through and it's right back to winter on Friday and into Saturday, a much, much more typical midwinter air mass coming our way. All right, so tomorrow morning starts out largely dry, aside from some mist and drizzle and fog. A steady rain pushes in with this warm front as we get into the midday and afternoon. More showers into the evening, and I would not even be surprised if we heard a clap of thunder along and just ahead of our cold front right around 11 o'clock or so tomorrow evening. Of note, as far as temperatures go tomorrow, our forecast does include a record high, but this warmest temperature probably does not occur at the normal time of the day. That's 62 you see in the forecast for Thursday. That's likely to occur sometime between 9 p.m. and midnight. And then as the clock strikes midnight, if the front has not come through yet, and it could be a close call, but if the front has not come through yet, we'll probably set Friday's record high, we'll break it anyway, right at midnight. Record high, another pretty low one on Friday, it's 57. And if the front has not come through, almost certainly will be warmer than 57 on Friday. It could be a real deceptive day in the weather record books on Friday, perhaps with a new record high, and then the afternoon, wind chills in the teens. It's not going to seem like a day in which we set a record high, but it's possible we do set it at midnight. Storm Prediction Center does have southwest Ohio into the lower Ohio River Valley and a low-end risk of severe weather tomorrow into tomorrow night. I'm not concerned about severe weather here locally so much, but a gusty thunderstorm, yeah, that's going to be a possibility again with our front right around midnight. Right back to Winter Friday, a flurry here and there, otherwise clouds, intervals of sun, windy, nasty feeling day on Friday. It'll be a calmer day Saturday as high pressure builds in. Check out what the wind chills do. They drop really fast before daybreak Friday and then stay in the teens throughout the course of the day, really going nowhere. And wind chills will probably dip into the single digits by Friday evening, making our way down to 0 for a wind chill Friday night. All right, we have a clipper heading our way, a weak low pressure system at the end of the weekend. I think Sunday starts out dry, but towards sunset Sunday evening and into parts of the overnight, I do think we'll see some snow. As is typical in a lot of clippers, this won't be a whole lot. This is a kind of a weak clipper, if you will. But you can see our models here advertising accumulating snow, the GFS Ensemble, and the European model all saying it's going to snow some. And yeah, I can see where there's an inch or two out of this late Sunday and into Sunday night. As we go into the longer range, I think next week we do have some colder air that'll visit for a few days. A mild start to the week. I suspect we turn colder right around Valentine's Day, second half of next week. Overall, the 8 to 14 day period here, we're kind of in neutral territory because that cold snap at the end of next week probably is just a couple of days, and then we probably start to see some milder weather filtering back in. You know, this map is not going to change much. The southeast seeing an early spring preview, very cold compared to the average in the west and the northern tier of states, and here in Ohio and western PA, it does not look particularly warm. It does not look particularly cold at all for the next 10 days or so. So if you watched Weather Geeks last night, I talked about there might be kind of a pattern change in the last stages of February, the last week or so. But until then, you know, we'll get a cold couple of days here and there, but it doesn't look like a very cold pattern at all. Also does not look like it'll be as warm as the last 2 Februarys, which have been top 5 warmest. We will not be in the top 5, it looks like, this year for warmth in February. Thanks for watching tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll have a fresh edition of this video, same time, same place on Thursday.